right, welcome back. So we are here. We're at episode 14. So kind of how I mentioned in my last video, what we're going to do with this episode, we're really going to talk about, how we prepared for baby number two. So for those who don't know or who haven't tuned into the channel before, we are due in about 17 days here to have our second son. So we found out around Christmas Day. We just wrapped up the baby shower last week. It was a great time. A lot of family, a lot of friends that came out, good food. So a little hot out, but it was a great time overall. Got a bunch of gifts, got a bunch of love. So always appreciate the support. We actually did last weekend. I know West Virginia had their tax-free school shopping. I think Maryland's is coming up here soon. But, we definitely took advantage of the time to go shopping for school tax-free. Why not, right? So, it does save you some money when it comes to clothes and school supplies. So, if your state does the tax-free school shopping, look at what weekend that they do it. It is coming up. It may have passed. I know West Virginia's just passed. But you definitely be able to save a couple dollars by doing that. Definitely get ready for fantasy football. So we're in fantasy football season. It's early August. I can't believe we're already in August, man. From about a month from now, we'll be tuning in to Thursday night football. So definitely excited for that. So got 2 drafts on Sunday coming up. So I got a redraft 10-man, and then we got a rookie draft coming up, and then I have another draft towards the end of the month. So I'm really liking the later picks this year. So, I'm picking at 7-1 the drafts, and when I'm doing my mock drafts and I'm seeing who's coming to me at the turns, I'm starting to like the potential I have if I can get the guys that I want. So that's the thing with fantasy football. It's your team. So, when you build your big board, you get the guys that you want, because they may not turn back to you. So definitely looking forward for fantasy football. This league placed second last year, so definitely looking to see if I can end up in first place this year. Speaking of football, preseason's here, so I was hyped when I saw Shedeur. He's going to get his first start for the Cleveland Browns. So the two quarterbacks I'm really looking forward to is Anthony Richardson and Shedeur Sanders. So I don't know why, but those 2 players I feel like are the most interesting players for me. More on the fantasy side, to be honest, for Richardson, because Richardson could still throw for 2 touchdowns but still get you 20 points just off his rushing. So interested to see his development from last year to this year. So, he went from getting benched to getting started again. So looking to see if that motivated him over the summer. But enough with that. We're going to get into the video again. So we're going to dive into how we really prepared over these 9 months for the day that he's here. So and just know the preparation. Obviously, we prepped for the 9 months until he came, and then now we're game planning what we're going to do after he comes. So I'm definitely looking forward to the video. Again, thank you for all the love and support, for everyone who is in our inner circle, who came to the shower, who sent us some love. So always appreciate it. So let's go ahead. Let's get started. Disclaimer. The information provided on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It should not be considered as financial advice. We are not licensed financial professionals, and any opinions shared are based on personal experiences and research. As always, do your own due diligence and consult with a certified financial advisor or professional before making any investment decisions. All right. So again, what we did, 9-month prep. So let's start from the beginning. I believe we found out, I want to say it was either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day that we found out. So it was a nice Christmas gift for sure. We found out we're introducing a second child, something that we've been trying to do for quite some time now. So the fact that it's actually happening, it's kind of crazy. So, God works in mysterious ways, man. So, he puts you through the toughest challenges, and, you just got to weather the storm. So it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be beautiful, but weather the storm, and now he's been given nothing but blessings here recently. So, essentially what I did when I found out, I already had this plan, but it kind of already solidified what I was going to do. So I know every year, I'm going to get some type of, performance bonus, and I'm going to get taxes. So usually what I do is, I'll try to guesstimate how much I can get. I try to lowball as much as the lowest possible and work off of there, because you truly won't know until the time comes, till you file, until the time comes for you to get that yearly performance bonus. So what I typically do is plan for the lowest amount possible and go from there. So I did last year. I was able to take that, pay some debt off. Like I put all my bonus, all my debt, everything. I mean, all my taxes straight to debt. So I put all of that straight into debt, and still continue snowballing. So I mapped out a plan. As soon as I put everything I had into debt, I mapped out my plan for the year on what I wanted to look like. Obviously, there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be things that you're going to have to do. Going to have to do a lot of adjustment throughout the year, right? So just because you had a plan, there's going to be moving parts within the plan that you're going to have to move from time to time. So, but anyway, I continue snowballing my debt. So I have a set amount per month that I snowball, and I continue to put into the market as well. Now, when I mean I put into the market, like I'm not putting hundreds of dollars here and there. One thing I'm starting to see in my portfolio is even put in the $10 to $15 in over time, and then maybe bump it up to 100 here, maybe 200 here one month, and then just constantly put in just a small amounts over time. What I'm tending to see is my portfolio start to really increase, because one of the things I did is I bought into the dip. So if you've been following the channel early in the year, when the market was down, you buy the dip, right? You buy the dip. And one thing I mean by buying the dip is if you have $100 per se, maybe one time you put 25 in here, 25 in here, 25 at this price range, and 25 at that price range. Because you don't know how far it's going to go down, or you don't know when it's going to go up. So I wouldn't put every single thing, like I wouldn't put everything I'm going to invest into one stop shop, because there's still potential for it to go down or potential for it to bounce up. And either way, you're going to be missing out on opportunity. But now with me buying the dip, it started to really earn me more shares. Obviously, I bought at a lower price, and now what I'm seeing is, even with the market had that crazy day on Friday when it really tanked again. What I ended up doing is I actually sold out of an index I was in, so that gave me like $150, and I split that up between NVIDIA, VOO, and Amazon, because I have positions in Amazon already when I bought into the dip earlier in the year. And even when it really tanked that day, it's a terrible day for the stock. But the way I looked at it, I'm gonna buy in again, because the price point it was around what I originally got my first position in. So why not? So I bought into it again, and the day today it's up 4%. So that's how I look at it, because I feel like Amazon's one of those. It's one of those companies, one of the top in America. It's not going to go anywhere. They have different parts of the company. They have the e-commerce space. They have the Whole Food space. They have the AI space I know they're a little behind in that, but they have other areas to carry them along that way. So that's why I really believe Amazon is a safe play, especially over a long term. Again, we're long-term investing, right? So I still put into the market what I can on top of continuing to snowball my debt. Of course, got some money put aside, got some savings put aside there. So, now, when I get to my next performance bonus and tax time, I'll really be having a time to save. So this couple months is going to be a little tight when it comes to savings, but once I execute my plan that I have, I'll have way more to put aside for savings. And I'll explain here one of the things I did to still free up some money even in the short term. All right. So before I dive into this, I do want to say I don't recommend this. This is something, again, just did a high risk move, right? So to me, this is a high risk move, but it's also someone that I truly, genuinely trust. Someone that, like, if something happened to me, like, I'd be okay if they would have my kid. So if I can trust you with my kid, I can trust you with money. That's how I look at it. but there's really only a few people on this planet that I would ever do this with. But essentially, what happened is my brother needed some money for his car, and I wanted to get off my student loan payment before the baby was here. So my student loan payment is $215. So what I did was I needed a total of $4,000, right? So I took out a 4K loan. So what I did was I gave him a portion of that, and I took what I needed to pay off my loans. But he's going to end up paying a bulk of the loan back. So basically the reason why he's doing that is because I took it out. It's just in my name. It's just for me. So I hold all responsibility for it. So that's why I took something out that I knew I can genuinely afford. And on top of that, if something were to happen, I can still make the payment, and it'll still be $100 cheaper than what I was paying on my student loans. But I don't see that as being the case. This is someone that I would want to go in business with, someone that, we've been doing some stuff like this for years now, so it's nothing new, and we never did each other wrong. So anyway, with paying off my student loans now, that saves me $215 a month from here until some early next year, right? So I don't have to make a payment on that loan until early next year because he's taking his part of the payments first. So basically all I did was defer my student loans into next year because I wanted to free up that $215 a month. So now that $215 is going to go into what I need for the baby. So we got diapers, wipes, formula that we go, hopefully to breastfeed, that's what we're going to try to do. But, worst case scenario, if you do need formula, if you do need snacks, things of that nature, doctor bills, these things really tend to add up. So freeing up that $215 and understanding that when it's my turn to pay the loan, I'm going to have it already paid off. To me, it was a smart move because I basically just deferred the loan, right? And I basically freed up that money in the short term. And I know I might have money that's going to come in for me to do it, to pay that off in full here in a midterm. That's my midterm goal, essentially, right? My short-term goal was to free up money, which I did. Again, this is something I really wouldn't recommend. But, again, it's just someone that I genuinely trust. So I have no reason to doubt that he won't hold his end of the bargain. So that's kind of just the gist of it. So it was a risk, but for me, it's a calculated risk because I know this person. We've been friends for about 10 years now, maybe more. So it's, again, stuff like this we've done in the past before, never did each other wrong. It's a help you, help me type of move. So I think once we came to that agreement, I was like, okay, now I have that $215. So that's extra money I can put to the kid, especially with holiday season coming around and things of that nature, which we'll talk about, what I'm going to do to navigate through that. So I knew that there's going to be an adjustment period having two kids, not just financially, but also mentally, right? So you're always going to now, you should already be adjusting your budget as your kid gets older, but now you're going to have to adjust it for two, right? So now you're going to have to calculate for two kids. And you can't compare what you spent on your last kid due to inflation. Tariffs or not, like just over time. Like my first kid, he'll be 6 this year. So like 6 years ago when I was buying diapers is completely different to the price of diapers now. So you got to take that into consideration. Changing my routine, right? So school's about to start, about to have a new kid. There's a lot going on, but I got time, I work for a great company that gives me great benefits, and I have time to where I get 2 months off with my family. So that 2 months is going to give me more than enough time to find a routine. And even then, the routine is going to change over time, right? You're always going to tweak the routine a little bit. But as long as you keep the core things, you tend to basically build a rhythm. So obviously I need to change my routine, my morning routine, my night routine, going to bed earlier so that way I can get up earlier, get both ready. So just understanding that, making sure that I'm keeping myself mentally prepared. So when I do go back to work, and things of that nature, right? So just trying to keep myself in a safe space, enjoy the time, enjoy the exciting, life event, having the baby with us. So just soaking it all in. Um, back to school. So I feel, for me personally, I feel more locked in during the school year, if I'm being honest. So the reason why I say I feel more locked in is because that is really a strict routine. Because now I can sleep in if I wanted to. I try not to sleep in, but I can sleep in now if I really wanted to sleep in. I'm sleeping in later than what I was during the school year, but I'm not sleeping in. Like I'm waking up maybe an hour later than what I usually did. But this school year, I'm gonna have to wake up earlier. I might have to wake up 30 minutes earlier than what I did last school year. Maybe even an hour. So that puts me on a really strict routine. So get the kids ready, drop them off, go. Then I'll go to the gym. So then when I'm in the gym, I got a couple hours before work. So I'll put on I'll put on a podcast. I'll put on an audio book while I'm working out, and then I'll finish my workout with some music. Shower up, get ready for work. And then I'll go right to work. Straight from the locker room. So, and I'll start my day, go home, get the kids ready, get to eat, maybe read my book, catching some football or something. It's gonna be football season. Catching some basketball. Probably the three things I'm gonna do is basketball, football, or read a book. So, understanding that things are gonna change and understanding that that's gonna make me more focused mentally. And then I can just take a bit of a break, just like I did this year when school's out. So, I know people say I can't wait for the kids to go back to school. I kind of feel it, but I kind of don't at the same time. So I don't really mind it. And another thing too is, as I said, I was adjusting my budget. I'm gonna have to adjust my budget again in about 5 to 6 months, even after the baby's here. Here's why. So again, we got mad love, mad support for our baby shower. So always thankful for that. But that's a really good starting point because you don't really have to buy a bunch of diapers. You don't have to really buy a bunch of wipes during that time. You have a supply of that. Are you going to run out? Absolutely. And that's why you're going to have to adjust your budget, because once you run out, now you're going to have to adjust your budget into buying it full time and not just pulling it from inventory. So now you're going to have to really go out, buy. It's going to be more expensive. You're going to have to buy, more things. Lucky for us, we kept all our first son's clothes. So realistically, we really don't have to buy many clothes at all. So that's a blessing. But point is, you're going to really have to put more money into your kid as soon as that supply runs out from the shower. So that's why it's important to really keep that in your back in your mind as you're going through that inventory. All right, so we're a little bit over the halfway point, 2025. So I just want to go over, some goals that I have coming up to hit the end of the year and to start early next year. So first is obviously saving for holiday season. I'm always the person that says I'm going to save and save and save, and I don't save anything, or I'm going to buy my gifts throughout the year. And I don't do that either. And knowing me, if I did buy the gift throughout the year, you're probably going to get it before Christmas because I'm terrible at keeping gifts from people. But what I'm going to do is I put this into my plan, so I know if I just stick to my plan, it's going to work. So I'm going to pause the money I put into my snowball method through November and December. And here's why. If you look into what season drives up debt the most, it's going to be holiday season. It's Christmas. It's going to be the gifts. It's going to be the food. It's going to be Thanksgiving. It's going to be New Year's with the alcohol, the drinks, the parties, going out. People swiping credit card, right? Racking up the credit. You'll be surprised on how many, the percentage of people and the percentage of the debt, Americans add during the holiday season. This year, I want to try to avoid that, right? So that's why I'm going to put a pause to my snowball funds, because my snowball funds pays additional debt, right? So if I'm still doing the snowball method and still swiping my credit cards to buy the gifts, I'm already spending the snowball method money while on top of collecting interest. So I might as well just save those 2 months on what I would snowball into my debt and put that towards the holiday season. So that way I don't have to put more money onto my credit cards while trying to pay debt off. It zeroes it out, right? It does absolutely nothing, and you're just going to pay more interest over time if you don't pay it off within the month. So I want to try to avoid that. I want to really try to avoid using the credit cards for the holiday gifts, the holiday season. And the way to do that, a quick way to do that is just take what I have in my snowball funding amount and put it into my savings account until I'm ready to buy what I need to buy. My plan should still allow me to do that, still allow me to hit my goals come March or April. I know I won't pay off all of my debt, but I should pay off a good chunk of it. I already paid off a big chunk last year, so I should pay off another massive chunk and be almost there, outside of the house, of course, and be almost there. Another thing, I'm gonna do is, after we get that paid off, after we start looking into our next steps, I think it's about time to put money into the crib. So, putting the deck up. So I think that's something that we want to look into, at least about next spring, to start reaching out to contractors to see how much it would cost to put up a deck. So that's one thing we've been talking about getting the past 3 years. We put ourselves in a really good position to where we can go ahead and do that. So that's going to be really our plan, and to recalculate my budget in March. So I think March is going to be a good time. Like, people call me crazy. I plan these things out ahead. Like, I want to be ahead. I want to be prepped. I want to be ready to go. So I'm planning to reallocate my budget come March, because I understand that come March, that's probably when I'm through a big chunk of the baby shower items. Baby's going to be bigger, going to need more food, going to have more clothes, bigger diapers, use the bathroom probably a lot more. So use more wipes, X, Y, and Z, right? So I'm gonna reallocate my budget to see where I'm at that March time frame, because I'll have debt paid off on top of planning for the next couple months, right? So my goal is to always plan for the next, like, at least 3 to 5 months. Like, that's really what I'm looking for. Because it works for me. I don't know why it works for me. It keeps me afloat. So I have a big goal, and then I set miniature goals within the year to make me work harder towards that big goal. And for me mentally, it just works best for me. So that's what I started doing. I started really picking up on making sure that I'm keeping myself accountable in what I do. So, not only do I keep myself accountable on how I move, how I operate, but also how I spend my money and how I use my money. Because if you want to hit that next level, if you want to take your funds to the next level, I don't want to continue to go to work for the rest of my life because I have to. I want to go to work at some point because I want to. So for me, the only way to get that is to stay locked in and stay disciplined with my plan. And also to, once I hit a goal, celebrate in the moment for sure, but we got to go on to the next, right? So I'm just getting started, right? I told y'all before, I'm very new to this, and I learned a lot within the 2.5 years from doing this. So you just got to stay locked in, continue on to learn, continue to educate, pick up a book. Sky the limit. All right, so last thing I'll leave you with is, after I get myself situated, and again, like, this is like a 3-year plan for me to get myself situated and get started on this. I'm 28 now, so if I can do this by the time I'm 31, I'm still in a very great position. I want to open up a 529 account for my kids. So basically what that is, it's a tax advantage investment account designed to help with basically education expenses for your children. So when I was looking into this, I'm like, okay, so it kind of works as you put the money in. So let's just say you put $1,000 in and it grows at 8%. And let's just say it grows at 8% for 10 years. In that 10-year time, whatever that value is, if you spend that on school expenses, it's tax free. So this would be, tuition. This would be, your rooming, your boarding. This will be your books, your supplies. if you put your kid into private schools, this even goes for tuition up to a certain amount for but from kindergarten to 12th grade. So it's tax advantage as long as you use it for qualified expenses. Um, and what's really cool about this is, let's just say, you know, your kids go to school, or one of your kids decide they don't want to go to college, but maybe you had them in private school and you were using some of that 529 asset. You can actually roll over up to $35,000 in your lifetime into a Roth IRA if your kids do not use the funds, right? So let's just say this grew. I have two kids, right? So both my kids grew to 20,000, and let's just say one used some of it, and the one did not go to school at all, um, and we put them in private school per se. This is all hypothetical, right? And it all equaled out to, I have about 35,000 left. What am I going to do with that? Well, since 2024, I can now take that and put it into my Roth IRA. For a life once That's a once in a lifetime thing. So the lifetime limit is 35,000. So I can take that and really roll it over into my Roth IRA and let that grow for my retirement. Because at that point, my kids are going to be building their own legacies, right? So obviously, I'm going to be here to support, my kids for sure. But I also want them to experience their life. I want them to experience, what it means to build their legacy, right? So everyone has a legacy, no matter how big it is, right? It's just what matters to you in life. So, but yeah, no, man, I'm really excited. I'm very excited, actually. Excited to have the time. First kid I had only 2 weeks. This time I get 2 months. So definitely gonna take advantage of that. Blessed to definitely have a benefit like that. Soak up every moment with the family. Create a lot of memories. Get ready perfect for holiday season too. Halloween's coming. Fall season's coming. That's one of our favorite seasons. So again, thank y'all for the love and the support. Don't forget to, like, subscribe, comment. It really helps out the channel. And I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.